that feeling when someone asks you what you want and your default is to ask them what they want? Well, let me assure you, it's really not about you being polite. This is your brain that has stopped trusting its own judgment years ago, and that is why you tend to defer to other people. So in this video today, I'm going to explain how you can make your brain start to trust you again. And I'm going to share with you 3 key things for you to start rebuilding your self-trust. I'm sure that you've tried the affirmations and you will have told yourself that you're capable and you continue to push through and that you've done the work on paper. After all of this, you still find yourself asking everyone else what they think before you decide anything, even the tiny little things. Hi, I'm Lucy. I'm a confidence and women's empowerment coach for women over 40, and I struggled with this same problem myself. So what I'm about to share with you here isn't all just theory, it's what actually rebuilt this for me and for the women that I now coach. So I'm hoping to reassure you that this does work and it is effective. So before we go further, I want you to do something with me right now. So think back to the last time that you made a decision and trusted it completely. There was no checking, no asking anyone else. This was just you deciding. Now, some of you may not even be able to remember, and that's fine, because it proves how long it's been since you actually were able to trust your own decisions. Now, if you can remember, then great, because that feeling is what we are rebuilding towards in this video. This isn't about confidence for the outside world, which can be performative, but we're going to give you that quiet certainty on the inside, the one that doesn't need anyone else's agreement to feel solid. So if you struggle to think of a time, just know that that's not a failure. It is simply information at this stage. It tells you roughly how long this has been building, and it's useful to know because it means this is entirely learnable and not something that has broken in you. So let me name what this actually is. It's not a lack of confidence, it's a lack of self-trust. And these two things get confused constantly. So it's worth me being precise to help you understand what's been going on. Confidence is how you come across. Self-trust is whether you believe your own judgment deep down when nobody else is watching. And for a lot of women who look completely capable on the outside, their self-trust eroded years ago, quietly, without a single dramatic moment that they can pinpoint. It happens the same way over and over. And this often affects women over 40 who have sort of started into their midlife, or women over 50 that are sort of heading through their midlife. So just be reassured you're not alone. Think about this. If someone questions your choice and instead of holding your ground, you defer. So in that moment, it works, it passes, and you do it again. And then you do it again, and that pattern that becomes formed makes you feel safe. Asking first for other people and their opinions will become your default, because choosing this and choosing to offer your opinion will feel unfamiliar. It may even feel risky and unsafe to some of you, so you stop doing it. Now here's the sciencey bit. Your brain isn't being difficult. It's doing exactly what you taught it to do. It learned over years that your own judgment gets overridden. So it stopped offering it up with a feeling of confidence. So this isn't about you being indecisive. It's about the pattern of deferring that got reinforced thousands of small times until it became your default setting. So I'm going to share a story about a client of mine. I'm going to call her Anne, though that's not her real name. Anne ran a department. People trusted her judgment at work completely. And Anne seemed to all around her a confident, capable woman. But at home, Anne couldn't even choose a paint colour without asking her husband and her daughter first. She told me she'd stand in the aisle at the shop holding 2 identical shades of white. It could have been green, it could have been blue, whatever. And she needed the shop assistant to tell her which one was right, even though there was never going to be a wrong answer, or even a right answer potentially, whichever way you look at this problem. So this wasn't a paint problem, and you may be thinking, hang on a minute, okay? Everyone struggles with choosing paint. But here's the thing I really want you to pinpoint on. Not everybody does struggle to choose paint. For Anne, this was a self-trust problem that had nothing to do with capability and everything to do with years of her judgment being second-guessed until she'd stopped offering it. The capability of being able to choose paint was still there, but the trust in that capability wasn't. And so this is quite often why women turn to affirmations, and in the long term, affirmations don't fix this problem. So you can tell yourself, I trust myself in the mirror. You can have post-its anywhere. It doesn't actually rebuild anything, because self-trust isn't a belief that you can talk yourself into. It's evidence. And your brain only collects evidence one way, by noticing and repeating what you actually do. And this is the key point that I really want you to remember. As I said, there'll be a couple of others coming up later in the video. So every time you say you'll do something, and every time you do it, even if it's something tiny, your brain will log this. It says to itself, that's reliable, and so I can trust that. But every time you override yourself instead and defer to someone else on something you were perfectly capable of deciding, your brain logs that too. And over years, that second pile gets a lot bigger than the first. So everything like stacks up. And this is why I'm explaining that one little tiny decision built on another and another and another. That's what builds the self-trust. In the same way, on the other hand, where you started to erode and erode and erode and erode, your self-trust has been eroded over years. Now, when we think about willpower doesn't stand a chance, and this is where affirmations and things come in. This is about willpower. Now, this is the second key thing that I want you to remember. This is really actually good news for you, because it means that the fix isn't about trying to do things harder. It's simply about collecting different evidence. And so hopefully you're going to start to trust me now when I tell you that this can be rebuilt, because I actually use this framework myself, and I'm sitting here today as confident as can be and teaching you how to be as confident as I feel in return. So there's a piece of neuroscience here that I think you might find useful to try and explain it all. So your brain will not distinguish between big wins and small wins when it comes to trust in yourself. The same pathway strengthens whether you make a huge, brave decision or whether you simply pick what you actually want for lunch and stick with it. Which actually means for you that you can start small, and starting small is the best way to start, okay? It's not a stepping stone to the real work, something you need to get through before you're allowed to get to the important part. It's the whole entire mechanism. It is literally how trust gets rebuilt, one small decision at a time. And if you keep that, regardless of what that decision is, it can literally be choosing whether to put tomato in your bacon and lettuce sandwich. Okay, it can be that small. So in my steady framework, which is the program that I call, this is the E, okay? This is establishing self-trust. It's the part that almost nobody tends to work on directly because it doesn't feel or look impressive. Nobody claps for you if you choose your own lunch, okay? But you need to clap for you, and that is the key part. So there's no dramatic picture that you can say, I did this, and then I did this, okay? But it's the part that everything else stands on. It really is the foundation. Self-trust is key to rebuilding that confidence that you felt that you once had. You can't set a boundary that you don't trust yourself to hold. And you cannot take inner authority in a decision that you don't trust yourself to make. Every other part of rebuilding confidence sits on top of this one. So if you'd like to have some practice this week, I want you to find one teeny tiny decision, genuinely small, make it, keep it, and do not check with anybody else first. So here's some little examples, okay? It might be choosing a restaurant. It might be what you order, in fact, once you're actually there, without waiting to hear what everyone else's order is first. It could be deciding what you're doing on Saturday and saying it out loud before you ask what everyone else fancies doing. It may even be as small as picking a film and pressing play instead of scrolling for 20 minutes, asking if this one's okay for everybody else. Whatever it is that you pick, know that that decision isn't the thing that matters. What matters is that you made it, you did it, and your little brain knows that you did it. And I can pretty much predict that nothing will fall apart and nobody will get upset. And in fact, probably no one will even notice, and that big old world will keep turning. So that's the evidence. One small kept promise, and then another, and then another. This isn't a giant, big, brave leap. It's a teeny tiny accumulation in the same way that the doubt built up in the first place, remember? We are going to be removing that doubt and rebuilding that self-trust. So this is the final part of the steps that I want you to remember today. So I'm just going to pause for a sec. So please take on board what I've said. So remember, I talked to you about my client, Anne. She started choosing where to meet a friend for lunch. That was her moment that she explained to me what she did. And it was something she had never done before. Her friend met her for lunch and she didn't even comment. And to Anne, she found this remarkable because it was a huge moment for her, but her friend didn't even acknowledge it. And that's sort of the point I'm trying to make. This actually gave Anne the confidence because it encouraged her to try something else again because she did something for herself. And in fact, a couple of months later, Anne came to me. She was making calls at work that she used to run past people at first. And in fact, no one had even questioned it. She hadn't become a different person, but her brain had quietly collected enough evidence that in fact, she felt her judgment could be trusted. Now, this may sound small to you, but I want you to try it because I really want you to understand that the smaller that you start with, the bigger you'll find it able to take those bigger steps, which are often the hard ones to do later down the line. So just know that you haven't lost your own self-trust in one big moment. It didn't disappear in like a crash and a bang and that went. You can rebuild this back up one little moment at a time, okay? Make those small decisions, they will accumulate and your brain will know it. It will start trusting yourself again. And then you will wake up and just know that that confidence is there, that quiet confidence. And that's specifically what I'm going to help you rebuild. So as I said, my name's Lucy, and after years of struggling with my own self-trust, I now coach women over 40 back to theirs. If you want to learn more about how I did it and the methods that I use for coaching women to rebuild their confidence through self-trust, I've written a book. It's called Calm Confidence. I'm just going to hold it up there. There's an ebook version that you're able to download. I'm going to pop a link in the description for it, and it'll also be in the comments. I'll pin it there. So thank you for listening today, and I hope you found the video really useful. If any of this feels familiar, then please watch my other videos and you'll see how some of the other steps in my program will help you rebuild that calm confidence and that quiet confidence that will give you the strength and the excitement to take on your midlife. Thank you, and know that you're in the right place.